Hello and welcome. In this video, we will learn about text shadow in CSS. So I have opened the documentation of text shadow from MDN, and here is the syntax, what we have currently right now. And you might be thinking here, okay, this syntax is kind of a little bit complicated, and yes, it is, but we will learn it together. Okay, so as you can see, we have this CSS property which is called text shadow. And then what we can do, if I go to the syntax here, we have some different type of syntaxes. First of all, the first syntax which is here, which refers to the first thing will be the offset X. Then we will use the second place for the offset Y, and the third one for the blur radius, and fourth one is for color. Again, you might be thinking, okay, I do not want to blur. So I will show it to you. As you can see, this example is quite good. So this has a little bit of the blur and it has a pink shadow. But if I go here, not here, so as you can see, there is no blur and it is quite sharp. The shadow is quite sharp. So yeah, in this way we can use that. So let's use that in our code. Okay, so go to the code editor. All right, live server is running, and here, for example, for this particular h1, let's do what we can do. Basically, by the way, one thing which I want to point out here is that, as you have remembered, that for the font weight we have included all. If you are not including the necessary font weight, then the font weight property will not work properly. What do I mean by that? So for example, I will do font weight, and here we have different things. So let's go with 900. Okay, and if I go to the browser and go here, as you can see, the font weight is now 900. But the thing is, if I do not include the 900 font weight, then it will use the closest font weight which is included inside of the font, and that is all. All right, so let's add a text shadow to that. So text shadow, and what we can do something like 2 pixel, 2 pixel, and it is for the X offset, then Y offset, and then what we can do, we can add a color. Let's go with blue violet. Okay, save and go to the browser, and here it is. So now, as you can see, it is our text shadow, which looks doesn't good, right? This doesn't look that much good, but yeah, it is what it is. Now, if we want to use the blur, like if we want to have a blurred shadow, we can add another number here, which is, for example, 2 pixel for the blur radius. And here we go. So here it is. This is the shadow, which looks kind of okay. So this is basically the text shadow. Now, if I go to the documentation once again, as you can see, we have a bunch of things. First of all, once again, there are different formats. So this is the format which we have used. Now we have another format, which is, first we will add the color, then we will add the offset X, then offset Y, and then the blur radius. So which is this one, basically. Okay, and then we have the another one, which is the offset X, offset Y, and color, which we initially used. Basically, we didn't included the blur radius. Okay, and then we have the color, offset X, offset Y. So it is quite flexible, as you can see, right? But you have to remember to use only one of these in your code. Basically, I usually go with the first one, but usually we do not use the text shadow quite that often. Okay, so this is the text shadow, And also if I go here, as you can see, there are a bunch of things. And if I go this one, so as you can see, there are a bunch of shadows here. So what we can do, let me just go to the code. We can add multiple text shadows as well. So let me just go here and go with the blue violet. And also one thing to remember here is that we can use the negative pixels as well. So if I do -2 pixel and hit save, go to the browser, and as you can see, our like the shadow is shifted to the left because we have used the negative. Okay, so let's go with 2 pixel blue violet, and we are not blurring it out. Then add comma and do once again. Let's go with 4 pixel x offset, 4 pixel y offset, and go with something like a red. Yeah, red. Okay, and let's do one more. 6 pixel, 6 pixel, and go with blue. All right, and I'll just wrap the code here. As you can see, so we have 3 shadows. So one is blue violet, then red, then this is the blue. So let's go to the code editor, and now here it is. This doesn't look that much well, but as you can see, we have successfully included the text shadow, like the multiple text shadows. And also what I can do, I can play around with that. I can blur this first one, or let's blur this one, let's say for 2 pixel, the blue one, the last one basically. And now the blue one is blurred. So you have total control over the text shadow which you want to use. So what I'll do, I'll just go here and I will just remove the blur because I like it as it is. Yeah, looks kind of funky, but yeah. So this is the text shadow in CSS.